Hello everyone, this is a unpainted review of the Kotobukiya and Takara Tomi's HMM Command Wolf Irvine Custom. It's from Zoid Chaos Century. Yes, it is, which is basically the reboot of the anime series. Is it actually a reboot? Because I don't think there's an anime series in the original Zoid series, I think. It's only a manga and novel, I think. Yeah, anyway. So this is an Irvine Custom, so it's a limited version. In fact, there is a little label here called, which says Shop Pro 30. I have no idea what it means because I got it from Hobby in Japan, not Shop Pro. Whatever. Oh, by the way, the artwork is done by where is it? There's a post. Mercy Rabbit. The guy who does a lot of Zoid and mecha design. His design, his graphic is usually pretty nice. So the box is very thick because it's basically standard command wolf plus the Empire long range cannon, which means they actually got a few extra trees. So it's retail for 3,800 yen. Although it's supposed to be limited edition, you can actually buy it normally. They just don't make so many rerun as the others. And just show some of the gimmick, like the cockpit, the articulation, the soy core, let's see, the rear wheel, front wheel, the gun, and its proportion. Yep, that's the box. Manual. The manual is standard affair from the Zoid series. So it's completely separated into sections for the head, weapon, bust, waist, the foot, and foreleg and hind legs. And what is the weapon? Oh, the weapon is on the top. By the way, this is release number 02 limited. I think number 02 as in the Command Wolf's mode is actually the second mode out of the whole series. And this one is a limited version of that. By the way, it claims a 1/72 scale. So yeah, a few color page which detailed the Command Wolf LC, the Command Wolf Irvine Custom, and some tags about its evolution basically, and the Irvine where the Irvine Custom came in. A few description of all of the parts. In fact, it actually tells you some of the terminology of all the various bits and pieces. If you've got time and if you've got this model, have a read. A bit of translation wouldn't hurt. Yeah. So a lot of technical drawings here. Pretty nice. And then you get to the assembly instruction. A little bit more on the gun and the weapon and the legs. A lot of artwork. Even some of the seats on the cockpit, and etc., etc. And there's a color guide, and there's a decal guide as well. So yeah. Before we talk about the model itself, there is a it's not water slide. It's clear back stickers for all of the detail. I'm not going to use it, and it's upside down. I'm not going to use it just yet. I'm going to see if there's any way to actually make them a bit less ugly, basically. Yeah. So this is the command. So this is a command booth. Okay. It is a little bit smaller than I thought, I have to say. So let's move the camera in a bit. So the command wolf mode is more or less the second or the third mode Kotobukiya created. And why is this not focusing? Come on. There we go. So they did the standard command wolf, they did the Empire version, they did the Irvine Custom, and they did the Leon Custom as well. So they have quite a few mileage on this mode. And to be honest, you can actually see that this is a older design from them, because some of the stuff you see here, you not actually imagine it if you actually used to the newer HMM model. So overall, he looks brilliant. Basically, even unpainted, he looks really detailed. They do give you some supplementary plated gold and plated silver color there. The only bit that is actually generally painted for you is the front guard for the front leg, because the original Command Wolf, the front and rear leg guard is the same color. In fact, it's the same part. But for the Irvine Custom, the front is a maroon red, while the rest of the kit is a red dark brown. So in order to recreate that, they paint it for you, except they leave the snub mark completely bare for you to see, which is a very bad move, really. Usually, Kotobukiya would be kind enough to actually cut the part off and then paint it so that it will look alright without any retouch. And in this case, they decided to just paint it on the tree. So there are some rubber hoses, 2 here. There is 2 more on the waist. The rest of them, there are quite a few other hoses, but they are hard plastic. So let's see, articulation first. So I'm going to talk about some of the articulation. I'm not quite sure how to say it. It is a little bit disappointing in certain places. So let's talk about the good bit first. The leg. The leg is on itself is on a ball joint, but it's connected to a brake disc S part, which is actually on a hinge joint, which allows the leg to spray out very far. The ball joint doesn't allow it to actually spray out a lot at all, but because it's a ball joint, it can rotate 360. I'm not going to do it. That part is actually connected up here, which is not actually the main part of the upper leg. It's actually one piece like that, and then jointed here, and then the rest of the upper front leg is here, and it's jointed so that you can actually shift it out like this. I'm not quite sure if you can see it. Yep, you can see it now. That allows you to actually lower the leg even further, depending on the pose, or shorten it, so that you can actually do more dynamic poses. So there is a hinge between the upper and lower leg, and it can bend up to this point and down to this point. The paw is jointed up here, so it's allowed it to actually swivel and back like that. There's a ball joint underneath, so it allows it to actually wiggle left and right a little bit more. There is a foot guard, so this piece actually moves separately, and then the paw, front paw is claw and paw bit is actually separate as well, so you can bend it further. The back leg is virtually identical to the front, except for the fact that it's actually bent backward, but it's exactly the same joint. Tail is on the ball joint and has a limited wiggle. The torso is jointed on the back and on the front, really, so you can rotate it a bit, but the exhaust and the gun actually block most of the articulation, unfortunately. And you can see one of the problems I have with this kit is that the rubber hoses is actually plugged in to a piece of plastic, and the plastic does not like the rubber hoses, so it does come off. But it's actually jointed, so when you actually crunch the waist like that, this piece also moves back and forth, and supposedly carrying the hose back and forth with him, but it's not doing it. I will glue it afterward. The gun is jointed down here, so it can swivel quite a bit. A joint here allowed it for elevation. Okay, now we're going to the bits that I'm not quite keen on. The neck, you know what, let's get the gun off. The neck can rotate left and right at the body. That is fine. The head can rotate left and right at the roots of the neck, which is very, very limited because the actual neck is not actually all of this. The natural neck is a tiny little bar from here all the way to the top of the head. The bottom bit is actually on a separate mechanism which does this. So in order to actually turn the head, you have to swivel all of those together, and the head doesn't like it. And because the joint is up here, the neck can actually go up, but oh my god, you're actually snapping his head off. Because all of this is empty, it's hollow. I can put my hand in there. And the head can actually go up. And in order to do that, the bottom bit actually follows it. Only up to a certain point. So he can look up to that point, and it's already really, really creepy. And then, for some very odd reason, instead of actually locking it in so that this part will always follow the head, it's not. And it can snap out. What is happening here? Someone wasn't really thinking when they designed the Command Wolf, definitely. Which means that if you don't want it to look ugly, the most it can do is about this much. And the head probably forward a little bit. That's it. That is the most you can do without actually making it look like that you just snap the wolf head off. So yeah, that is the articulation. I mean, if you ignore this bit, it's fine actually. The articulation of the Command Wolf is actually pretty good, but you see it on the box. There's a lot of dynamic poses, but in reality, you can't really do any of those without it looking really horrible. So yeah, that's articulation. Let's talk about gimmicks now. Let's go to good bit. The mouth can open. Not a lot, but it's enough to make it look menacing. The cockpit can open. And inside is a painted Irvine. Not very well painted, but it's so small that I would not care. The control bar does lift up. If I got better nail. But yeah, it does lift up. I did that before. If you snap the head off again, you can open this and go inside to get the side core out so that you can transfer it to the lighting state when the Command Wolf get killed. I need to put a spoiler down there. It is so old, you don't actually care. So that is basically the gimmick on the Command Wolf itself. The gun. The long-range rifle here has two, by the way, it actually has two beam rifle on the side as well, the 50mm cal beam rifle. And open it is a cockpit, and there is Empire Soldier. Better. Yeah, there is a reasonable cockpit. There's a detailed seat, but that's basically it. And in this configuration, the long-range rifle, the rifle itself doesn't actually tilt up and down on the turret. It only follows the turret base here, and the two 50mm cal beam gun doesn't move individually either because it's locked in place. In fact, there's a strut designed to look like that it's actually locked in place. Yeah, they say that this is actually the standard Command Wolf model kit plus this long-range cannon. So it actually comes with enough parts, and in fact with the instruction to build the standard 50mm cannon. So yeah, somehow the same 50mm cannon looks much bigger here. And to actually use it, you have to take this base hinge part off, turn it 180 degrees, and then mount it back in. Like that. Now the 50mm cal gun here actually does swivel up and down, so there's a little bit more articulation to play around with. And top of the fact that this is actually also jointed, so you can do a lot more. And there is a cockpit again with a clear visor, and there's another Empire soldier. Much better. So, oh, you know what? It's Irvine Custom. Let's give it an Irvine gun. So this is basically it for the Command Wolf Unpainted. You know what? Let's talk about size comparison. So Command Wolf and its successor, the Lightning 6. Okay, so you can see how big the Lightning 6 is compared to the Command Wolf. And to be honest, if you come back to the anime, Irvine, why are you complaining? That is such a big upgrade from this to this. Why do you complain? In any case, I promised before about size comparison for the Lightning 6 as well. So here is the Shadow Fox. Let's see. So let's do the Shadow Fox and the Lightning 6. You can see the Lightning 6 once again is quite big. And it's not in the same series, but here is the Command Wolf and the Shadow Fox. And they are about the same. I think they are around the same size and scale. Yeah, the Command Wolf looks a bit bigger because the tail was sticking up, while the Shadow Fox tail was sticking down. So yeah, it's pretty in scale. I was surprised that the original Sword series was actually in scale to the HMM series. But yeah, that's pretty nice. And yeah, when I was saying that the Command Wolf is a bit small, I have to also argue the fact that my first experience with HMM is the Lightning 6, a much more recent release compared to the Command Wolf. So I have experience with a bigger sword, a much more modern engineering sword model than Command Wolf. So to be honest, it's not a fair comparison to actually say that the Command Wolf is a bad model at all. In fact, it's not a bad model. It's just that you can see that the engineer has improved dramatically for the HMM series since the Command Wolf, really. And it's a good thing. And the Command Wolf itself is more of a collector toy than the modern HMM sword. Let's put it that way. If you want a sword model that you can play around a lot more, I think the Saber Tiger, the newer Ligers, or I think all of the Ligers generally are pretty good, and the Lightning 6, the Geno series, the Geno Breaker and the Geno Saw, I think those are much better. As for Command Wolf, be a bit more careful with them if you want them. They do look nice, and they definitely look great in front on the shelf as well. So this is basically it. So next time you see the Command Wolf, it will be painted. Join me then.